DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the DeFi Kingdoms AMA. I'm Winston. Bolon is out today. He is on a beach somewhere, but it's not a beach that he is used to. It's a different beach. So it's got to be something, right? We had a great conversation in the chat the other day, in general chat, about how he's convinced that beaches can only be parts of oceans. And then National Geographic stepped in to explain that, you know, you can have a beach on a river or a lake, or maybe like even your pool could have a beach if you played that right. So I digress. I'm getting way off topic here. Today we've got AMA bouts as well. So let's blast through some updates. And maybe I'll just get those AMA bouts up here already. I should have done that ahead of time. I've failed to plan my life very well today. Today our AMA bouts. Obviously I can't fight because I am hosting. So instead of fighting, I have brought up tournaments. What am I doing? Instead of fighting, I've brought up one of our previous AMA battlers. I've got Kurt Hokage coming up, and he's going to fight. Okay, I looked this up to say it correctly. Saint Andres, I think is how you say it. I'm trying hard here, everybody. Thank you. He's going to fight Saint Andres, and it's going to be quite a show. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to pull this thing up here. All right, I'm just gonna leave it off to the side here until I pass it off to somebody else, which is going to be now. Hey, Hubert, we've had a kind of a big update this week. Lots of stuff coming out. Do you want to chit chat about that a little bit? Talk to us about some of the cool things that have come out this week.
Yeah, sure. And thanks. I'm doing great.
I can't believe that. How are you doing this week, Hubert?
Pretty good. It's been busy. Very busy.
Busy. I see where Bolon's coming from now a little bit, I guess.
So yesterday we had a big release. We have gotten the chest unlocker contract deployed. So now all of the treasure chests that have been awarded from the tournaments are now being opened. You could see, if you're in our Discord, you can see a bunch of pictures of people who got some of them. I'm a little bit upset that Shakavilo managed to get one of the rarest bonuses on one of the armors on his first pull, because I was talking to Sasha about how it's not that big of a deal, and we might not ever see it, and then it was like the first one. So that's cool. Thanks, Shak. But yeah, I mean, I really like the armors. I think the weapons and the armors, like the whole coral theme is kind of tied to Submersia. I think Second Best Dad really knocked it out of the park with that. So far, there's one more piece of equipment that hasn't been revealed yet, but the name has, because you can see it on the armor bonuses. Which is the Crown of Submersia, which you can get from the coral chests that come from the championship tournaments. So that one, you can look forward to that. It's a pretty cool accessory. It also makes all of those armors just twice as good in terms of their bonuses. And there's only going to be a limited number of those, since they only come from those chests. So I think we counted like 12 of them are going to exist by the end of this whole tournament season. So it should be really rare, and those will be mythic items. But I'm not sure if every single weapon and armor has been shown. I saw the heavy armor and the light armor. I don't know that I saw the medium armor. And I think I saw every weapon, but maybe there was one that hasn't been shown yet. I'm not sure. But anyway, congrats to those that had those. If there's any other chests out there that haven't been opened, maybe you'll find something cool. As far as I know, nobody has found a sunken chest out of any of those yet either. So there is still that angle that hasn't been explored either, with the special visage in there as well. So I hope you guys have also enjoyed like the extra work we put into the treasure chest, just opening animation, everything too. I really like that, how that was set up, and Just like extra props to the art team for putting in the extra effort to do that too. But someone did find a sunken chest. Are there pictures?
Eric, step forward.
Yes, where are these pictures? So that's cool. Well, I guess that answers that. Yeah, so we also just noting we have more tournaments to configure here. We're going to do a little bit of extra stuff, I think, with the Patrollers Limited series this time for this week. I'm planning on adding a new qualifier token that will come with those, and I still need to finalize all the details. That'll happen kind of after this, but these will be non-tradable qualifier tokens that will go into another tournament that will have a single submersive chest as like the first place reward. But it'll be kind of a low-cost option to potentially get yourself a chest. You'll have to go through the Patroller series to get it, and only the accounts that actually get those tokens will be able to do it. You won't be able to like buy that token on the marketplace. So we're gonna give that a try. Last time we did the Patroller Limited, we only had this last week we only had one of the three actually run. I think there was some issues like. I think what we're going to try doing this next time is stick to just level 6 and level 10 tournaments, and which is kind of closer to the levels of like what patrolling heroes would be, and we'll also be doing that for the kind of tournament with the chest as well. So hopefully that'll be kind of motivating for people to try that format out some more. They will all be stat limited, so it should be easier to get in there, and also now that we have adjusted the level requirement on weapons to 2B level requirements, you're not going to see any teams full of Excaliburs and stuff in those tournaments. Like in the level 10s, the highest level gear is going to be the gore weapons and the armors from the box, but not the Excalibur. So really excited to see how the meta shifts with that. Should really change things, especially on the level 6. Yeah, I guess I'll pass it back to you instead.
Thanks, Hubert. What a time to be alive. New chests, new equipment. It was kind of cool this morning to watch that tournament play out, and then I think Mellow Fellow won that one, or maybe it was Mellow Merchant. I'm probably the same dude. But it was cool just to see that play out, and then to see them open their chest and talk about what they got. It was rad, super cool. Also, I got to find that Twitter post. So if anybody has that Twitter post showing the crown, I hope I didn't just say too much, showing the thing, I would love to see it. I mean, it's called a crown, but it's actually like a boot. So you put it on, it goes on one foot, and it's a boot. Yeah, so wow, what a time to be alive. Hey, Frisky Fox, I know you said you didn't have any big updates this week, but I just wanted to say hi and ask how you're doing and see if you wanted to just take a moment to address the crowd. You're adoring, I don't know, fans is not the right word. These are people that you owe. You're adoring. What's the word I'm looking for here? People you owe. Your creditors.
This is getting more and more off the rails as you go.
Say hello to the people who made it all possible for you.
I was actually planning on trying to really call you out on that, and then you just out of the blue asked me how I am. I don't know what to do anymore. And then apparently now I'm like a slave to everyone here, which is fair. That's fair. Yeah. But no, I'm good. It's been a busy week. It always is. Seems like I do more and more things now of like behind the scenes type tools that we use. But it's fun to build, and made a lot of progress on the chain stuff that we're doing to prepare for converting our subnet to an L1, which I'm stoked about. It's making progress there. The old Harmony bridge is on its last legs right now. We're trying to migrate that over to using layer 0 technology, just like all the rest of our bridges. So that's another thing. Divine Essence is moving forward on the integration phase with the front end, and there's issues and like small things being found that I'm also having to fix. So that has progress, and it's really good to see progress there. because it's going to be a really amazing feature. I'm really excited about it. And I also messed around and built a cool tool for us to make it easier for us to do like multi-sig management of our contracts. Because for those who don't know, like we manage all of our contract upgrades and like permissions and roles and things like that using a multi-sig for security. And it's a lot to manage because we have hundreds of contracts. So a lot of the tooling that we use to manage that, we actually have basically created ourselves and like really pioneered that. And we had a meeting this week to sort of look at security and how we can make sure that we're always using best practices and like minimizing our like risks and attack vectors and things like that, which we do periodically. Shout out to Pinecone, who is really always ensuring that we are doing the best we can on that front, because we don't want to get hacked or anything. It's really important. So what was I saying with all this? I also made a tool for Bolon to do things like airdrops, because he's always having to bug me for one-off things like, hey, we've got these people who won this thing, these vouchers, can you airdrop it? And it's actually usually me who does it. Well, always me, basically, because I have scripts that I wrote that do it. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a tool. Just make a tool that he can do it. Because we did just this week, for those who were paying attention, we expanded the system we use for the vouchers to now apply to more than just heroes. It applies to pets and equipment, auctions, and things like that. So if we use those tools for some of our campaigns, then the recipients of those can not only just buy heroes, but also buy pets and equipment too. So that's awesome. And then we also expanded it to work with Jewel over on Metis, which we haven't actually launched any of those campaigns yet, but stay tuned. I think we're going to be looking at those. So it's exciting. Good stuff. That's basically it for me, and that's my updates. Back over to you, Winston.
Thank you so much. Great to hear all the stuff that you're working on and that things are going well over there. I know that people love to hear from you. Congrats to Kurt for winning that first bout. We got the other one coming up here in 2 minutes. Don't forget, we are still rolling. Sponsors are still eligible to roll for some stuff that I'm giving away. I'm not going to do that right after this because I got an appointment after this. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. You got 2 minutes to get in there and sponsor or vote. So hustle over there and make it happen. And thanks again to Kurt and I'm gonna try it again. Saint Andreas for battling today in the background of our AMA. Good luck to both of you guys. That first bout was pretty cool, and looking forward to the next one. Yeah, unless we have anything else you guys want to talk about before, I think we could probably just leap right into questions. Yeah, I'm not even going to leave you guys a chance. So here we go. First question is going to be for Hubert. Any thoughts on certain traits like heal, also recovering initiative similar to a heal potion?
Yeah, good question. I think heal is probably in a good place at the moment. Typically, like giving back initiative is something that we look at for something where it's like, is it worth spending a turn doing this? And I think heal is worth spending a turn doing it. I see people use it all the time, and I see it being used to great effect. So I don't think it really needs any additional buff at this time.
All right. I kind of agree with you on that. I mean, that's the sort of would nerf healing potions a little bit, I guess.
Right.
Like, there's a great bit of strategy around using those to kind of jump ahead, or it's like, hey, if I could use a healing potion and then get a turn again, so I may as well just do it.
Yeah, and also with healing potions, it's like that's actually a resource that, tokens that you're spending in the fight, whereas heal is a free thing that you can do. So like there's also kind of like a cost analysis to it as well. So
yeah, that's a great point. So that was a nice answer. In our pre-meet, he just said no. He did the no. So that came out a lot nicer than I thought it was going to.
You guys get friendly, Hubert.
Yeah.
How bitter I am all the time. I'm just kidding.
There's only 3 of us. We can't afford to be sassy or bitter today. We got to brave big smiles. Okay. So next question. I would like to see cool frames for the cards. Don't know if it's something that can be bought like a Visage or something that you can win and maybe have some utility, maybe 5 different frames. I think that's a super cool idea. It'd be just neat to have like a, maybe you could buy a frame that was the year your hero was summoned or something, something like that. I think that's pretty cool. I think it would probably even be something we could possibly do in the future. Hubert, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it would be something that we could possibly do. It's just a matter of when would we prioritize doing it. Like we have, especially things like that. The card is a pretty high pixel count item. So like making new versions of those is a pretty big chunk of work, and it would kind of lock at least one of our artists up for a good period of time. And we have a bunch of things that we're having the art team do. So I don't, doing something that's just purely cosmetic is probably not going to be on a near term to-do list, I would say.
All right. Still a cool idea though, even if it's down the road. It's
I do think
fun
it's
way
cool
to dress
idea.
up things a little bit. Next question. This one is going to be for Hubert as well. And I might do some explaining while I'm reading it. Thoughts on the commander, and they're talking about like you, the player, gaining levels which unlock spells that can increase XP, drop rates, chance to craft double items. It sounds like they're asking for like power-ups that are associated with something that doesn't quite exist yet at the player level, where your player level's up for doing stuff. What do you think about that, Hubert?
I do think that's a cool idea. But yeah, it does also sound like another one of those things where it's probably not going to bump itself up in the priority list of other things at this point. But it's a cool idea, something that maybe at some point we'll be able to get to doing things like that. Just basically, more like we have little things like that, such as, there's the daily quest for the shell raffles, or like the Submersian shells. This sounds kind of like that, but instead it's like a player wallet based tracking system, which does come with its own unique challenges. Like if you want that to be something that's truly global across chain, then it gets into like needing to bridge information. If it's just local to a specific chain, then how do we keep that, I guess, in its own little flavor on each chain kind of thing. So it's would be pretty, I think, complicated to like fully define it and set it all up in kind of the way it's being described. But not a bad idea. Just we got a lot of things.
yeah. Technically, a bit of a a bit of a challenge to put together just to figure everything out on it. But I love the idea, even if we don't associate power ups or additional gains to it. Like it would just be cool to like seasonally, so like you think about like duels, when a player gets mythic status in duels, like their whole picture changes, when you go to fight them, they're mythic and you're uncommon or whatever, and it's like you kind of feel like much weaker than them almost. It's like makes you feel cool when you got that mythic status. So I don't know, it would just be cool to flex that everywhere, to flex that 50 of 50 for this level 50 of 50 for this season, and all the cool bonuses and everything. So definitely seems like something we'll do when we've got time for it, though. Let's pop into this bout really quick and just see what's going on. This is the level 6 bout, so this is the first ever for the AMA where we're having level 6 dudes fighting each other. Let's maybe pop in here really quick and just see what we got.
Are those
going
level
on.
6?
Oh wait, these are level 11. Maybe they changed their minds. They changed their minds.
I see Goraxes. That's not.
Quiet, sweet prince. No, you're right. No, they must have changed it underneath me. So I'm a liar today, and that's okay. That's okay. But this one, it looked like Kurt kind of ran away with the last one fairly early, but this one is a little more balanced. I mean, we're on almost at turn 25 now, and we've got a berserker and a not berserker, and anything could really happen here. So looking forward to seeing how this plays out. And Okay, so I'm going to try to say it correctly this time here. Somebody was rebuking me. Scene Andrus, that's it. Okay, Scene Andrus will get you into the role and the secret group chat that only the past AMA fighters are in after the AMA today. So thank you guys again for fighting. Okay, let's jump back into questions here. This one says it's for Bolon, but he's not here, so I'm just gonna do my best here. So this person is asking, it's kind of a long question, but they're more or less asking for a better help desk system or a better support system, or even something in game where you can click and it says help and it shunts you over to Discord or something like that. And I think in layers and levels, that's a great idea. We would love to have a help desk that players could use, but I think that's a little ways down the road. I think trying to get them into Discord using a help option is pretty smart. And so I think we'll probably look into that and get that onto Beetle's list. There's also stuff that we can't quite integrate in, but is really useful. Like Emerson has an AI agent. I'm not sure if that's fully launched and available yet, but it's pretty cool. You can ask it questions, get some feedback for help. What am I sharing here? Oh yeah, you sure about that? All right, I'm gonna take this offline for a second and see if we're actually gonna share it. But oh wait, no, this is a real.
That's a real tweet.
Dude. Okay, well then I'll share it. Yeah, all right. Let me open it up here really quick. Let's see. Here.
That's auspicious considering the background we have right now too.
Open with. Let's see. I swear I can just open these things with Chrome. What's going on here? There we go. All right. Sorry, Kurt and Scene Andrus. We're gonna stop sharing you guys for a second and share something else. Let's see here. Boom. There you go. Take a look at that. That is that's the sunken chest reward. Is that right? The Vizzy.
There you go. It's Sharkules.
He's looking good. Pants are extremely tight.
So tight. Very proud of SPD for this one. And yeah, this is exclusive to the sunken chests. So we'll see how many of them end up existing. You can, sunken chests do have a 1 in 1,000 chance that you'll get another sunken chest out of it. So you could potentially go down the RNG wormhole and just have infinite of them if you get super duper lucky, but probably that's not going to happen. But yeah, I guess there's maybe 1 or 2 sets of those out there now. So enjoy. And
is this the first time a lot of people have seen?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharkules is there in the background of the fight there. But...
Right. That's true. Okay. Sharkules has been one of like Second Best Dad's favorite things. He tells me every day how much he loves working on Sharkules. And he even made an AI homage song to Sharkules that he plays at night while he sleeps.
He plays it while he sleeps?
Yeah, no, it's like what allows him to make it through all of his night terrors.
I believe you. I believe you. I think that you're telling the truth with that, and I'm going to throw all of my support behind it. I think it's true. So I'm looking forward to. Actually, I don't want to hear the song. It sounds troubling. So I'll just believe that it exists and believe all that and move on with my life.
I think it starts out like Sharkules was the man.
Like,
I'm going to stop you right there. There you go. Yeah, it's like it's a guitar solo,
It's pretty good.
All right, let's get back to some questions here. Let's see if we can get through a few more questions. This question is for Hubert, but Fox, if you wanted to weigh in, you could. I mean, I think it's a pretty softball question here. In Sarandale, the market was reworked to have more of a free flow between map areas. There's a photo that shows the little arrows that go back and forth, so you can just kind of click back and forth between the marketplace. And they are requesting that we implement something like that in Metis country. They don't want it in Crystal Vale. They just want it in Metis or Sunderdile.
Yeah, so that back in the day, that was pretty far back when we had more resources and more people on the team, that we did kind of have this grand idea of kind of linking things up in a more like traversable way like that. We haven't really like embraced that since then, just because it's kind of resource intensive and kind of breaks things up a little bit more than we feel is necessary. So you do have access to like be able to switch zones with a little drop down in the top right. So it's like a 2-click process to get from one zone to the other. Adding like a go to here button on each of the maps, I suppose is doable, but it also, takes up more space on the screen too. So I guess we'd have to decide if we did want to do that. And maybe we do, but I'm not sure. We can talk about it. It's easy enough to just add a little link, but just do we want to cover up more of the art is the big question.
Yeah, that was kind of, I think it would be super cool to have just like an arrow there, like for on mobile, for example. It'd be nice to not have to open the thing and scroll it to find a page, but just click through them really quickly with an arrow. But at the same time, there's already like so many buttons on the screen, so much stuff going on. And yeah, that would just be 2 more buttons on every screen that would have to be balanced in there somewhere. So not a bad idea. I like it, but also, yeah, it's just like Hubert was saying on that one. Next question. Oh, this is a Winston question. Now that tournaments are a thing, does the team envision using them as a means to advertise other Web3 projects or games by having those entities sponsor tournaments? Yes. No, that's a brilliant idea. Why didn't we think of that? We're going to take that and run with it. And yeah, that's kind of the plan. That's what we're hoping to do, is to get sponsors. I know that Bolon has been, it's not Web3, but Bolon's been talking to Staples quite a bit about getting them to sponsor an upcoming tournament. You get free paper or office supplies or something. Everybody needs that. So look for the Staples sponsorship that we're getting up to next.
Also, I think that they're planning on bringing out some of our heroes to the White House lawn with the press conference or something like that.
It's a great idea. That's what we need. All right, next question. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. Would the team consider, and it's for Hubert, would the team consider an ability to pay a fee for repowering patrols so you can do more in a 24-hour period? And then they suggest like it could be used to do things.
Yeah, so we did talk about that initially. I would say that the idea isn't necessarily dismissed or anything like that. It just hasn't been something that we're really focusing on at the moment. There are some concerns about it, especially considering I guess like how frequently we want there to be loot produced and things like that as well. So I think we would need to talk about it some more if we were to do it, but it is something we would discuss. And I guess the biggest question is like, how would we do that if we were to do it? And that question hasn't really been resolved so far.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think just like you said, it takes I felt like this feature was sort of similar to duels, but every duel doesn't have the chance of like minting stuff, right? It seems like if people could just repower, it would affect the equipment market pretty quickly, I would think. So
yeah, it depends on like for example, like level 20s can get through patrols very quickly, and so like if it were unlimited use, it could impact like the number of heroes that are staked in metas and things like that as well. So I think there's a lot of knock-on effects depending on like how free it is. So like how limited would we want to make it, things like that. I think there's a path where we could make it like a limited number of refreshes per day. But if it were truly unlimited, then we'd need to consider like what are the impacts of that.
cool. Yeah, thanks for your thoughts on that. Next question is for Hubert. It's kind of a longer question. It's not really a long question. It's just it's kind of long-winded, but more or less they want another type of summoning where you can dark summon, but it's not a dark summon. And you have to pay a lot more, and you can't use a stone, and you get bonuses if the 2 heroes are not dark summoned or they can't be dark summoned. So it's I guess I'm not going to read the whole thing just because it's, you know, it kind of goes on a little bit. But what do you think about that, Hubert? What do you think about another method of summoning where you can sacrifice heroes, but your new hero may not be listed as a dark summoned hero?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, especially with our Divine Essence system coming soon, like pretty much every hero has the opportunity to be kind of refreshed on their own, just by doing a level reset, and then you can level them up in a different way than before. So I don't really think we need to be adding more modes of summoning at this point. Really, you know, the Divine Essence is meant to help kind of reduce hero population. And so, yeah, I think that's probably the angle we're going to go for a while. And we'll see how that goes. And I don't really think we need to add another summoning method.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for your thoughts on that. Sounds like probably not on this one, and watch for other methods to burn heroes. I will say I'm giving 20 points to whichever Harry Potter house you subscribe to for Gaia's Supreme Sacrifice. That is a great name. Bolon's probably going to steal that from you for something. And well done. So 20 points to whoever you like, whatever. Okay, so moving on to the next question here. This is a Hubert or Fox. I think we're both going to have you guys, you know, talk about this a little bit, because it seemed like something in the pre-meet, it seemed like something we had thought about before. So question is, anyway, to have an option when sending a hero to make it soulbound to the wallet you are sending it to. And they go on to say it'd be great to give new players cool heroes and just be sure that they aren't just going to flip them for profit immediately. They also go on to say maybe it's not soulbound forever. Maybe it's like a few months or a couple weeks long. And they go on to talk about a few other things, but I don't know. I know that when we discussed it earlier, it seemed like something you guys had thought about. So I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on something like that.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go first. That does sound kind of like, it sounds similar-ish to like hero rentals or hero delegation, and it is something that we've kind of talked about and have kind of a proof of concept, at least for some form of that. But you know, so far we haven't implemented anything there, and it depending on like how it is implemented, it could get pretty complicated, because you know, all of the contracts need to learn about this new approach. Like, is this new person the owner? Are they not the owner? If they're not the owner, are they allowed, kind of thing? So it is kind of a big effort, I guess. So every contract that deals with heroes would potentially need to, you know, have something addressed there for that. So I don't know. Fox probably has more to say on it, because I think, you know, he did the proof of concept on it. But yeah.
Yeah. Just like Hubert's saying, you know, there's so many things. Like, we've never done any kind of a soulbound hero. We've had similar questions to this in the past. Like, it'd be nice if I could, you know, let someone use my hero for certain things, but not be able to like transfer them or do other types of things too. And really, in my mind, the best solution for that is some kind of a delegation system, which I have created a proof of concept for. And I feel like it's a pretty cool idea, but it's just something that we haven't pushed very hard because we haven't really had a clear need to yet. But, you know, it could be very useful for things. I'm sort of envisioning a system where you can have sort of like permissions for each hero, and you could be like, hey, I've got this hero. Maybe it's a Gen 0. Maybe I want to store that in my hardware wallet, but then I want to play with that hero as well, and I don't want to have to pull out my hardware wallet and like try to sign every transaction, because it's a lot more enjoyable to play maybe with Holiday Wallet or something. So it'd be cool, even just if you're not going to involve other people, but if you have a Holiday Wallet and a hardware wallet, it'd be cool if you could just like delegate that and be like, hey, I delegate ability to do questing and do hero summoning, etc., of this hero to my other account. And then of course that opens up all kinds of cool things where you could let your friends have access to your heroes to do dueling or do questing or PvP or like whatever it is in the future. So that's kind of the system that I've envisioned, and it's pretty similar to what I built in the proof of concept. There still would have to be a whole user interface built around it. You'd have to manage those things. We'd have to figure out, how to display the heroes a little bit differently to know that, hey, here's this hero in your heroes page, but you don't actually own it. You're just sort of delegated ability to do this. And so there's a bunch of considerations there. But I feel like that would really be cool, and it could open up programs like scholarship programs for those that are familiar with Axie, or like hero rental or things like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts, and please have it all with a grain of salt, because we don't know if we're going to build that or if it will get implemented. But if there is interest in that, please let us know.
It's cool. Thanks for talking about that. I appreciate your thoughts on it. Next question is going to be for Fox. This one's kind of a mouthful, so I'm going to do my best to spit it all out without sounding weird. How much data and how efficient is what we get with the subchain? Is it possible we could store JSON, etc., on our profile, or would it be increasing transaction costs?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think we've touched on it a little bit a long time ago. It's been a while since we've talked about that, but the blockchain is really, really cool tech, but it does have problems. Like if you look at Ethereum and like other chains out there, as you get more and more transactions, more and more state, the size of like the amount of disk basically just grows and grows and grows, and it doesn't really ever go down. There's some solutions like pruning and like stuff like that, but basically, just as an example, our chain has 8 validators. And those validators, we have to increase the storage size of the disk periodically because it hits the limit. And it's just been ever increasing up and up and up. And that costs more for us to run. But it also, there's a hard limit there. As it gets bigger and bigger, eventually it's going to reach the limit that if we're using like AWS, they might have a limit of like 16 terabytes for some of their images or whatever. So there's things there that we're going to have to like figure out, okay, like we'll have to do something a little bit more custom to still be able to run those, or figure out how to do more creative pruning, which actually Avalanche has been really like pioneering some of those things too. So there's a lot of considerations. Most projects end up using like IPFS for things that they want to store. So instead of storing all the data, they just end up storing like a hash of that data that's basically like a pointer. So it's still storing a pointer to that data on chain. And actually a lot of NFTs work this way too. If you look at NFTs that are out there, a lot of them store their actual metadata on IPFS. We don't. We actually store most of our NFT metadata directly on chain, which allows us to do really cool things on chain, like having them level up and interact with like questing and things like that on chain, which I think is really cool. But it is a trade-off. So we don't really want a lot of people just posting a bunch of random stuff and storing it on the blockchain, because it just leads to bloat. But is it possible? Is it super expensive? You look at a chain like Ethereum, and they are very expensive. If you want to store a lot of data, it's going to cost you like a lot of Ethereum, and that's expensive. If you've got a chain that you run somewhere on a chain that's like lower cost for gas and things like that, of course the cost is going to be lower. It might be feasible, but any chains that do that are going to run into the same issues of it. It will eventually lead to bloat. So that's a long-winded answer, and it's not really an answer, but it's more just like, here's the realities of the blockchain world that you have to balance. It's always a balancing act. We do have a whitelist right now for our chain. So if you want to build things and put out like smart contracts and things, there's a process. You reach out to us, and you have to agree to some terms. I think we might do some kind of a minimal KYC process or something. But we're excited to work with people that want to build. And I actually think it'd be really cool in the future if we could make it be sort of a self-serve system, so that we actually have a smart contract that has our terms that you have to agree to. And once you agree to it, you'll automatically be whitelisted or something. I think that'd be really cool, just to have a little portal. Like, if you would like to deploy, then sign this transaction that says you agree to the terms. And that's just purely because if anyone's abusing our system, then we have recourse to say, hey, you broke our terms, so now you can't put out any more smart contracts on our chain. So yeah, that's our approach.
Great. Yeah, thanks for discussing that a little bit. It sounds like the T, too long don't read, is possible. Yeah, probably, but is it good for things? It's hard to know for sure. Hard to know if that's going to make things better or not. Moving on to our next question. This one is going to be about durability, and this one is for Hubert. So perk up over there. Wake up. So
Whoa.
Whoa. For durability, say an item is 50 out of 50, so it's full. In a tournament, if you play all 4 matches, does it bring it down to 46 out of 50, or is one tournament 49 out of 50? How does that work with hunts, and how does that work with private matches?
Yeah, good question. So currently, it's going to have a little bit of randomness attached to it, so it's not going to always be a guaranteed amount taken off. But for tournaments, there will be like a chance per round that you would lose durability on everything equipped. And it's actually per equipment as well as what we're planning on. So you could have some things that you have equipped go down and other things not. And so like if you do make it to the finals, you have like 4 rounds worth of chances. So it could go down by 4 steps. It could go down by 3 or 2 or 1, depending on your luck. With hunts, that will also have a chance to decrease it. That'll be, I think for now we're looking at just 1, but a lot of this is subject to change after we release it and see how everything goes. And patrols will also have chances to have durability go down as well. With private bouts, I don't think we're going to include anything on there unless it's tied to the glory and honor system, something where there's actual stakes involved that are a part of rewards. But if it's just like a free match sort of thing, we're not going to include durability loss there.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hubert. That was I don't know if anyone noticed, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think there was like kind of a buttload of alpha that he dropped there. I don't think we've talked about the RNG side of durability, that like maybe you just won't lose durability on this one, and also that it would be per match and per item, and you could lose it on one item and not another. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully people were paying attention, because I think that was all new information. Someone asked the right question this time. Excuse me. Next question is for Bolon, and I'm just going to briefly touch on it because there's a correction I need to make in it. Will YGG folks be incentivized to come to Crystal Vale and say hunt or summon, or will they be focused on SI? Just coming through real quick. It's Sun. It's not SI, it's Sun. And just a quick comment on it. We're working on stuff in the future. We're going to see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, I think we would love to make that a quest with them in the future to do stuff on Crystal Vale. So we're working with them. We'll see how it goes. Next question. Thoughts on adding... Oh, this one is... I'm going to... Actually... Fox has some solutions on this one, but they're not the solutions you're hoping for. Thoughts on adding buttons to add X amount of influence to avoid having to type in a number. It's great for mobile users because it's annoying to have to type in a keyboard number on your phone. So this would be like next to the entry, the text entry field, there'd be like a plus 1,000, plus 10,000, plus 50,000. So you could just like tap plus 10,000 5 times to put 50,000 in or something. So it seems like a really cool idea. It's something that, we only have so many hours in the day and so many beetle dudes in the basement, and this is going to go on his list. And I think it's a cool idea, though. I would love to have that. It'd be nice to just really quickly blast out, how much you want. And so, yeah, Fox actually had some ways you can solve your own problems. He was going to make some suggestions on how you could do it without any kind of development fix. So, yeah, go ahead. Jump in there, Fox.
Is this the one where I snarkily said that if you're on a phone, you could just enter the like little text field and then just hit the microphone button on your keyboard and just say the number you want?
Yeah, this is that one.
And then I suggested they just build their own front end interface.
Yeah, you did. That was a download. The next was like go to our GitHub and download the resources and, you know,
Exactly.
new front end of your own. So yeah, that's good. We'll put that on the list. Let me know how that microphone thing goes, if that even works for you. The next question, yeah, so we talked about this a little bit in our practice get together meeting, and it's kind of someone just asking for another way to do power ups, but I think we really enjoyed the word they used here, so I'm going to read it anyways. What does the team think of Jewel incentive that is affecting combat content? Not final version, but for an understanding. Every wallet that locks new Jewel gets boni to the wallet as long as the Jewel are locked. I was thinking about different tiers with better boni, the longer and the more Jewel you lock. Higher drop chance for patrol and hunts as the highest tier, maybe something visual like a Vizzy, and they go on to describe other stuff. And I mean, those are power ups. So they, in the future we might have combat focused power ups. Something where you, I don't know, maybe some of those things. Like I'm not sure that we'll have a power up Vizzy. That would be cool though. I don't know. That's a pretty cool idea. I'm pretty interested in that. But yeah, I don't know if Hubert or Fox want to comment on that at all. We can just move on to the next question if you guys don't have anything you would like to contribute. I see Hubert unmuted. Go for it, dude.
I like how you very emphasize the boni word there. I believe that is bonuses, but with the wrong plural being used is probably what's being said there. But yes, maybe we should just refer to the plural of bonus as boni from now on. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it does sound like the power up system. We don't have that on Metis currently, but it is something we've kind of discussed as having something similar to that at some point. And I think we're gonna, as our attention shifts back to other places, I think we'll continue to look at other places where we can have power ups as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
I just think it's funny how as we were reading this question, we're just like, what is bonus? And then finally Hubert's like, it's plural bonuses. Oh, okay, now it makes sense that like the more Jewel you put in, the larger your boni is. Okay.
Nice. I'm glad we got there. All right. So moving right along. This next question is, I'll just paraphrase it. They're asking if we can put tournament information, upcoming tournament information on the bulletin board that appears. And we considered that a little bit. And Fox actually mentioned that he has been working on a notification system for tournaments. So Fox, if you wouldn't mind talking about that for a few minutes, that would be fantastic.
Yes, the notifications one again. I've actually entered this a few times this year. I feel like I have a branch that kind of half works on the front end side of things that basically does notifications. It allows you to subscribe to push notifications too. So it's cool if you have a phone, you'll get like notifications, and it interacts a little bit with the API because the API is always awake. It's always there, just like watching the blockchain to see what happens. So when an event comes in, what it can do is it can actually push out relevant events to pre-existing channels. I'm trying to remember what they're called, but it's like a topic. That's what it's called. And so even if nobody's subscribed to this topic, you can still push out a sort of like a message to that topic. So for example, your address could be like one of those topics. So anything that happens that's relevant to like your address could be like, boom, we're sending out these messages for that address. And then all that you have to do is just start to listen for those. So theoretically, you'll have things like auctions being completed, or maybe there's like a new like announcement that like we want to make that we would have a special topic that everyone is like subscribed to. You'd get a like a little pop-up for that. But I'm excited about that. I think it's really cool, and it's a way for us to make sure that our players can have more engagement in our game too, because a lot of times, you know, like when you look at all of your favorite games on the phone, most of them will have like little things that'll pop up like, hey, this thing's ready to harvest, or like you've been challenged to a fight like over in the combat. So, you know, there's all kinds of cool things that it opens up. I've gotten it like, I don't know, 50% of the way. I'm not smart enough to get it all of the way because I'm more of a back end guy, and I know it's possible, and and it does work. It's just ugly. So we got to wait until the front end people have some time to spend some cycles on that. But I think it's going to be really cool once it gets built out.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Did you change rooms, or what's going on there?
Yeah. I usually work from my bed. I got to make sure that I don't ever have like, you know, like really good posture. So I just got to lay on my bed, just kill myself. But that's what I do.
Great. Sorry to hear that about the posture thing. You know, it's like you could get a desk. Have you thought about that?
I have a desk.
Oh, okay.
It's in the cold, dark basement.
Ugh.
It is cold and dark. Like there aren't any windows, and it's freezing because it's right next to our storage room that hasn't got any heating, so it's freezing. Yeah, it's not
like right next to the dark summoning pit.
It used to be on the main level, and it has like 3 windows and this amazing lighting. And then we're like, you know what? This room would be perfect as a playroom. So I got kicked out.
This room is so nice. We shouldn't waste it on a stinky old office.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad you found a place to work at stuff. So let's see. We're getting down there on the clock. We got about 10 more minutes. We're going to want to do some wrapping up. So I think we're going to get one more question. Let me pick the question here. You know, this one, I think this is actually a good question to have Hubert talk about for 2 or 3 minutes, just to describe some of the challenges, and also maybe talk about our intentions a little bit, I guess. I don't know. But the question is, are we ever going to have a proper matchmaking system, or are we using a number generator from here on out? And I think they're kind of referring to like an ELO type system or some kind of rating system.
Yeah. So I guess the short answer is probably we will have something like that, but it's pretty tricky to do, especially on the blockchain, and in a way where it's at like gas efficient is kind of the biggest challenge. Like we do kind of have an ELO type of system with duels right now, and duels works okay on DFK chain because the gas cost is so low there. But to make that work in kind of a different form, I do have ideas. I'll say that, you know, we have kind of talked about the glory and honor system and how that can have something along those lines. But I think there's, you know, still some things that we're going to need to work out on how that would work. And it really kind of depends on the amount of engagement that there is. You know, I don't think it can work quite like how duels works right now, where it's all kind of automatic and instantaneous. Maybe in the far future, if we have like a huge influx of players, it could work that way. But like we don't really have like active kind of server matchmaking servers and processes in the background that are happening. So generally we would be trying to like make it work with a smart contract, which does have kind of limitations of like how much logic you can put on a given contract at once. And if you need more logic, you kind of have to like split the function across multiple contracts, which really increases gas cost. You know, there's a lot to consider, a lot to do to make something like that work. And then again, it kind of falls apart if there aren't enough players to like engage with the system either. So yeah, I think what we end up might, like, at least what's in my head right now for that, I think we do have a potential path forward, but it's also something that, you know, we need to have the time to prioritize it, which, you know, currently our plate is quite full. So you know, we'll see, you know, down the road when things kind of clear up and we get more features out, if we can focus on that, see how it works. And yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you for your thoughts on that. And It sounds like definitely something that we want, right? But just a little ways down the road, and it always comes down to how it gets done and planning and all that good stuff. So we are going to shift over to the closeout of this AMA. We've had such a great time. We had some bouts. We laughed. Somebody probably cried. No one on this. Fox was probably crying. It's his posture though. His back is hurting him. So yeah, I'll go first, and then Hubert, and then Fox, and then we've got Seen Andres here. We're gonna bring him up, and he's gonna bullish us out. So I guess I'll go first. Thanks for joining us again. Always a pleasure to hang out with you guys and talk about this game that we all love so much, and answer your questions, and make fun of people, and it's always so much fun. So I'm looking forward to the future and all the new stuff that's coming up. So Hubert, would you like to say anything like that?
Yeah, just kind of echo what you usually say. Just very appreciative of everyone who's engaging in the tournament system. It's cool to see how everything is evolving. We are very actively watching all those fights and looking at things that need to be balanced. I will say that I have this massive list of balance changes currently that we haven't gotten to yet because we're prioritizing another class at the moment. But once that's into testing, I think we're going to then prioritize getting these balance changes into testing as well. Also waiting for a commentary from Winston on some of that as well. Winston, hint, hint, wink, wink. Otherwise, just really appreciative. I hope you guys are enjoying the tournaments. Hopefully the Patroller Limited will get more people interested in giving it a try, with it being, limited stats and stuff. It should be a lot more approachable, I would say, than, like the level 20s where you're going against the best of the best heroes. The stat limits do kind of force people to use, uncommons or common heroes to kind of make it all work. So give it a shot. And, like I said, this week, planning on having there be a way to get a treasure chest if you engage with that enough. And we'll see how that goes and make adjustments in the future as well.
Thank you, Hubert. Fox.
Yes. I've moved to the floor in an attempt to fix my posture all in one day. I have a DFK shirt on. So just shout out to there. Yes, basically the same things I said at the start, staying busy, excited to work on the cool things. And there's a lot of cool things that are about to come. Excited about tournaments. It's been amazing. And it's really starting to build momentum. Like we have a lot of reports that we look at internally and like charts and things about transactions and like active wallets and things like that. And there's a lot of good things happening there. So we're excited about that. Happy to be here on this team. There's amazing people here. Every single one of them are really good guys and also girls. And excited to be able to build these cool things. That's so appreciated by all of you here in the community. Your energy is very, very infectious, and it makes us excited to build these things and excited to launch them. So I just want to say thank you to all of you as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Fox and Hubert. Seen Andres, you got 1 minute. Please tell us how to say your name correctly, and whenever you're ready, man, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
So you said it correctly. It's Saint Andres. So it's okay. Nothing. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me here. Thanks to Kurt for the fight. Last one was a really long one, and we're always learning something new. We have a great community, always helping new fighters, newcomers. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate you guys, all the team, for these almost 4 long years of developing the game. Being able to see it in real time has been one of the greatest and best experience for both player and investor perspective. So these weekly AMAs are the reason that I trust you with my time, with my money. So I just want to invite my friends in Chile to try this game and learn a little about more Web3 and the future of finance. And it's a great and a fun way to learn from it. So cheers, or salud, como decimos acá. Here's to another year of developing the best game in Web3. And for that, I'm so freaking bullish. Viva Chile, mierda.
Bullish.
Bullish!
Bullish.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.